Sand filled his mouth, tasting of copper and old blood. Elias gasped awake, the violent rush of consciousness bringing with it the searing light of twin suns. He was on his knees in a colossal stone arena, heat baking the air, surrounded by the deafening chitter of thousands of alien spectators. It is a terrifying awakening, one that mirrors our own sudden thrusts into hostile worlds where the rules are unknown and survival is a gamble. He wasn't alone. Chains bit into his wrists, and nearby, amidst a scattering of terrified captives, stood a figure that didn't belong. She was blue-skinned, with hair like spun silver, Sarai. She held a cracked spear with trembling hands, facing down hulking executioners who smelled easy prey. When they moved to slaughter her, something primal snapped in Elias. He didn't think. He just ran. Chains rattling, he dove for a shard of her broken weapon, swinging the jagged shaft in a wide arc that forced the attackers back. He stood between the girl and death, a street fighter protecting a stranger. When the dust settled and guards closed in, Sarai didn't cower. She shouted, "Kevtsum!" The law of the blood oath. By taking up her broken weapon, Elias had bound his fate to hers. They were no longer two individuals, but a single entity under ancient law. Where she went, he must follow. Thrown into the damp, dripping silence of the holding cells, they were shackled ankle to ankle with heavy Cadrian cuffs. Sarai, bitter and proud, explained the cost of his heroism. She was a scholar's daughter, the last of a house executed for refusing the tribute. Elias was a navigator, lost to slavers. "You have defied sacred combat," she accused, though her eyes held a flicker of gratitude. But history is often written by the bold, not the obedient. A sudden revolt erupted, the chaos of desperate souls breaking their cages. Explosions rocked the foundation. Sarai moved with lethal grace, incapacitating a guard to steal a keycard. Bound together, they navigated the smoke-choked maintenance tunnels, fighting back-to-back against reptilian prisoners who sought to end their escape. They burst into the cool night air, under the gaze of 3 moons, running until the arena was swallowed by the dark. The wasteland was a harsh teacher. For days, they marched through a landscape of amber and gold, surviving on Kaba routes Sarai identified. The chain was a constant reminder of their forced proximity, a heavy line of iron dragging in the red dust. Every rest stop, Sarai used a small blade to file away at the metal, a testament to the patience required for freedom. We often find that the hardest chains to break are the ones we forge ourselves, but this one was literal. When Elias fell into a ravine, dragging Sarai with him, the weakened link finally snapped. They were physically free. Yet when Sarai suggested he flee to the coast, Elias refused. "I'm not done playing hero," he smiled. They chose to face the unknown together. Their loyalty was tested in the Spine, a mountain range of knife-like rocks. A bounty hunter, clad in a strength-enhancing exoskeleton, ambushed them. He trapped Elias in a tightening energy net, mocking the price on their heads. Sarai didn't flee. She shattered the hunter's armor with a rock and sliced the net's control node. They sprinted across a crumbling stone bridge, watching it collapse behind them, leaving the hunter screaming in impotent fury on the other side. They sought refuge in the dead city, a ghost metropolis of iridescent stone and automated blue lights, humming with the memory of a vanished civilization. Legends called it cursed, but for the hunted, it was a sanctuary. It was here the true test arrived. In the dead of night, Elias followed Sarai to a secret meeting with a hooded envoy, her uncle. The offer was seductive. Betray the human, and her family's honor would be restored. It is the moment every hero faces, the choice between the easy path and the right one. Sarai looked at the man offering her a past she could never reclaim, and said, "I reject your offer." She gunned him down as he raised his weapon, choosing the outsider over her own corrupt bloodline. But the envoy had bought time. Dawn brought a siege. Hunters swarmed the ruins. Elias and Sarai fought with the desperation of the damned, utilizing the ancient architecture to funnel their enemies. Hours bled into a blur of combat until they stood alone, surrounded, bleeding from a dozen wounds. They defeated the last wave, but the cost was high. Collapsing together as the sun set, death seemed a certainty. In the quiet aftermath, Sarai reached for his hand. The ancient blood oath was fulfilled, but she offered something stronger. "A new oath," she whispered, cutting her palm. not of law but of choice. Elias mirrored the cut. As their blood mingled, a strange vitality returned, a defiance of the inevitable. They healed, rising under the starlight not as prisoners but as partners. Leaving the broken spear fragment behind on a fallen column, a relic of a life they had outgrown, they walked into the wilderness. Two figures against the horizon, bound not by iron or law, but by the most powerful force in the universe, their own will.